Bruschetta, simple, just the way it's supposed to be. This bruschetta recipe, I swear I could have like all day long. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, appetizers, you name it. I love this recipe and it's crazy simple to make. I'm gonna show you how to do it. We have a loaf of bread. I like ciabatta. It's my favorite for bruschetta. And I'm just going to cut this loaf into about 3/4 inch slices. I like it a little bit on the thicker side. Some people, make these tiny little thin things, and that's not the way to do it. A little bit thick is the best thing. After you slice, I'm just gonna stick these guys on a baking sheet, and I'm gonna grill our bread, but you can also just do this in the oven on a high broil until they're nice and crispy on the outside. This doesn't work for bruschetta, right? But before we grill, we need to cut up some tomatoes. And because this recipe is just really like bread, olive oil, tomatoes, salt, basil, I think that's it. You really need good tomatoes. So I found some beautiful heirlooms. You want the best tomatoes around. And if you don't have good tomatoes on hand, like heirlooms, the best thing to do is get Campari tomatoes at the grocery store. They're these little red tomatoes, and they're really, really good year-round. So that's a trick of the trade. But for your heirlooms, you just want to core the tomato like this. Take out that center thing. And then dice this up into not tiny pieces, but relatively small chunks, just like this. Throw them into a bowl. You want your pieces big enough so that you get nice juicy pieces of tomato, but small enough so they don't fall off the bread when you're eating. So kind of like this, and you don't need to, it doesn't need to be a science, just nice pieces. Look, if you don't have juice like that, you got the wrong tomatoes. You want them really juicy. The authentic way to do things is just olive oil and salt. No balsamic, no fancy things. So I'm just gonna add in about a tablespoon or so, if it comes out sometime today, of olive oil into my tomatoes and some salt. And the salt will help draw out the flavor of the tomatoes, and that oil will just bind everything together. Give it a nice toss. And once I'm done tossing, we're going to go outside and grill our bread for about 1 to 2 minutes per side on medium-high heat. The husband's gonna take over because it's like 100 degrees out. And tastefully tip, what are you doing? What are you doing? He's eating my bread. Tastefully tip. This man needs to be controlled. The tastefully tip, finally, is grill your bread without any olive oil on it, and then we're gonna drizzle that fresh olive oil on it after you grill. It comes out 100% better, 100,000 times better. The smell of grilled bread. But actually, the #1 most important thing about making bruschetta that makes it amazing is taking fresh garlic right when the bread has come off the grill and rubbing the bread with that fresh garlic clove. It infuses the bread with garlic and you just can't beat it. Final step is assembly. I can barely wait. You want to do this last minute, right when you're ready to serve, just because you don't want the bread to get soggy. So first step, olive oil. You want to put some olive oil right on the top of that bread. And then don't forget your tomatoes, the key. I use a slotted spoon just so it doesn't get too juicy. And then you just want to pile high those tomatoes. And then basil. You can't have bruschetta without basil. And I just like to give it a good tear. It just looks so much more authentic and delicious that way. And then final step, salt. I have some coarse salt here. Top it just like that. I mean, come on. think that deserves a bite. Let's dig in. One of the single best things I've ever had. Simplicity at its finest. Check this out on tastygrace.com. You won't regret it.